for myself, I think that I have been in maybe 2 or 3 of these personalities, before. And there are quite a lot of people when we are much more younger, when we are bachelors, a lot of us are big spenders. I, for one, I was a big spender, but when I got married and then the responsibility started coming in, right, I began to shift to, the wary one, right? When opportunities come, I think about it all and on till the opportunity goes and I never get to do anything. But right now, I can say that I have moved on to being the smart one, right? So irrespective of wherever any one of us are right now, or whatever personality you have when it comes to money, right? It is my hope and belief that, we are going to journey from wherever we are right now to either being the entrepreneur or the smart one when it comes to, managing money or finances, as the case may be. Now on the screen is the wealth framework, which is also going to channel our conversation. And I purposely use this framework because I want to diffuse our mind from, just looking at being financially independent only from the standpoint of, adding value to your money. It goes beyond that, right? So I want us to focus on this wealth framework that you can see. And as we move on in our conversation, we're going to delve deeper into what it's all about. On the far right, that speaks to how you can create value. That speaks to how you can make money and how you can add value to whatever money you are making. And on the left, that speaks to how you can live and enjoy, and also how you can, give a legacy, which, falls under giving purpose. And I think this is very critical to us as believers because we are not just living for ourselves, right? We are living for our communities. We are living for people around. And that's the commandment that Jesus has given to us when he says that we should love our neighbors, right? So, and everything, that you see is under an umbrella, which is called plan and protect. So, it's not just sufficient for you to make money. It's not just sufficient for you to know avenues with which you can save and invest, with which you can, multiply whatever investment that you are making so that it has, substantial value because of inflation or currency devaluation, right? But it's important for you to also protect whatever it is that you are making. Why? Because life happens. So I think it's important for us to, focus on that. Now, create and build. Earlier on when we started this conversation and we look at, the map of our journey through, to financial independence, we talked about the fact that, when you are still much younger, that's the time that, you want to start saving, is the time you want to have a will, is the time you want to, start, making investment. And as you grow in your career, you want to, aggressively save. And so that particular time, right, in your journey to financial freedom, right, is a time when you are creating and building something. And whatever it is that you are creating and building, you want to ensure that it lives beyond you, right? Not that you are building it by the power that is in the name of Jesus. Every one of us that are building right now, right? I want to believe that quite a lot of us on the call, we are Africans. So we have left the shores of Africa, right, to work in Qatar, in the Middle East, right? It's because we are building something. It's because we are working on something, to ensure that our children, our family, even ourselves, we have a better future, right? So we are building, and it is important. Why? Because we need to position ourselves for success, right? So whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are a corporate employee, whether you are self-employed, or whether you have inheritances, that gives you passive income, it is important for us to focus, on this quadrant of, building sustainable wealth. And there are some questions that I would like to just, put to us as we journey through creating and building, right? There's this saying by Jim Rohn. It says that we get paid, for, hold on, please. He said that we get paid for bringing value, right, to the marketplace. They said we get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. So we get paid for the value, right, and not the time. So I beg your pardon. I think there's something wrong with that quote. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace, right? So we get paid for the value and not the time. And the reason why I want to stress this is because, unlike we see, most especially in the public sector, in government establishments. A lot of people will tell you that, oh, I am due for promotion, right? And I should be promoted, even though you are not adding value. As much as possible, quite a lot of us will fall within the age bracket of 41. I mean, between the age bracket of 21 and 45, meaning that we are the accumulating stage of our investment life cycle. As much as possible, it's important for us to think of how we are currently making wealth, right? Can you actually make more? A lot of us don't even know that we have capacity more than we currently have, right? There are a lot of gifts that God has deposited in you, and you even know it. And this gift, you have never even put it to work. A lot of us, we do our, 9 to 5. I don't know how it works over there, right? Such that, there is nothing in addition that we are adding to it, even though you know that you have the capacity to actually expand your horizon, to actually create more wealth. It is important for us to also leverage our skills, the skill set, that you have, so that you can increase your value in the marketplace. What are the certifications that you think you need to have? Create time for you to add value to yourself. There are a lot of certifications, out there that that if you can lay your hands on 2 or 3 certifications, it increases your worth in the market. And by doing so, you have, a bigger earning power. And lastly, the question that I'm going to pose to us, this evening is for us to think of, what are the risks that we are posed at, that is posed at our ability to making money, right? If a lot of us, God forbid, if, they say, okay, we are downsizing today. Can a lot of us, we afford to pay our children's school fees? Can a lot of us afford even to service our mortgages? Can we afford to even be able to, maintain our lifestyle for 1 year, right? If life happens. So it's important for us to think about all these things, right? And start to, make plans to ensuring that we build the capacity to create more. No matter what it is that you are doing right now, I believe that you have the capacity to do more. And that is why this quadrant is very, very important for you to be financially independent at old age. Now, this quadrant speaks to how you can live and enjoy, right? When we're talking about, financial, our journey to financial independence, it is not you spend yourself of life. It is not so that you can make so much money and then you deprive yourself, of enjoying, life, because the life that we have is to be enjoyed, right? And so this live and enjoy quadrant speaks to how you can maintain your chosen lifestyle. There's no lifestyle that is bad, so long that you have the capacity, or you have, made adequate plans to actually, live the dreams and aspirations that you have set for yourself, with respect to the education of your children, with respect to, whether you have plans to travel all the time, every year for summer, or, you have buying lifestyle assets, or, whatever hobbies that you have set for yourself. This is very important, because you need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your family. This is very key. However, when we are talking about living and enjoying, we are talking about living and enjoying responsibly, not at the detriment of the future, not at the detriment of tomorrow, and most importantly, not at the detriment of your old age. And so the choices that you make right now is going to be very much, is going to have a lot of impact on what is going to happen, at our old age, or maybe in a couple of years. And so a very critical and very key concept, right, to being financially independent right now and even in old age is the concept of budgeting. And I know that all of us are not new when it comes to this, but I'm just going to open our mind to some things that, we would normally overlook, right? So on the far left is the income box, right? And on the far right is the expenses box, right? For anyone who is going to be financially independent, whether now or in the future or at old age, this bracket, for your income, right, needs to be a lot much more than what our expenses are saying, right? But what we find out, in most cases is that, yes, the income is there, right? And to some extent, maybe we try to widen that income bracket. But then as we widen the income bracket, our expenses begin to also widen. And I will give you an example. When I was still a bachelor and I got a promotion, right, in my place of work for all you know, my expenses also grew in tandem with the increase in my pay. And so one day I met a senior colleague, and he said, what are your plans now that you have been promoted? Because maybe he saw maybe some very great, some good brands of clothes or stuff, you know me, and all of that. And he called me and he spoke to me. And he said, you know what, this is what I do. Anytime I get promotion, I still ensure that I live on my last paid salary, on an assumption that I've never even gotten any increase in my pay. In that way, he's able to keep his expenses in check. We're going to look, so much more into that in the next slide. And so all our expenses, are in this cycle that you can see, right? We do not have control over our fixed costs, right? Our fixed costs include stuff like your rent. It would include stuff like your mortgage repayments on a monthly basis. It would include, those fixed amount of money that you pay, on a monthly basis that you don't have a choice. You just have to pay them, right? And unfortunately, what we do with our income, whenever we are paid, whenever we are paid, is that 20% of that income is what, we place as savings and investment. And this is backed by statistics. A lot of people, it's only 20%, right, of their income, right, whether from their salary or from any other additional businesses that they do alongside. It's only 20% that goes to, meeting their financial goals, which is speaking to setting money aside. Why 30% of that income goes to variable and non-foreseen costs. And I'm going to give us an insight here. There was a time that we were having this kind of session, and then I told someone, I said, you know what, because when people see that we are Christians, right, they tend to want to plague on, the love of God that is in our heart, right? So you have collected your salary. As a matter of fact, a lot of people would even know the time that you collect salary. Maybe you have sent money to them maybe a couple of times. So they know that, at a particular time, maybe 25th of every month, is as though this man collects salary. And so requests keep coming. But then immediately when you collect your salary, the first thing you need to do, right, or whatever income that you make, is for you to pay yourself first, right? Set aside a minimum of 20%. If you can do it, I will implore you to do at least 30%. Right? Set it aside, and put it in an investment. The 50% can go into your fixed income cost, fixed cost, because you don't have control over that. And most importantly, reduce your unforeseen. People that call you, I need money. People call you from the village or from Nigeria. This, that. Try as much as possible. Create a budget, right, for maybe your philanthropic activities. Right. So if you say that, 10% or 15% of my income goes into philanthropic activities, anytime you are done spending that 50%, I think you can tell that person, right, that, you know what, I may not be able to meet your needs now, but I will be able to do something next month without any guilt in your mind. And so for us to be able to live a life that we desire to live, it's important for us to, have an idea and have a reflection of where we are, spend most of our money. A lot of us don't do this exercise, but I bet you if you can take time to take pen and paper down, and you might be saving well, but when you do this exercise, you will realize that even the money that perhaps maybe goes to your entertainment budget could actually be reduced. That is what an exercise such as this, can do for you. Over time, when we have this session, we would always, debate what a good asset is and, what a bad asset is. I'm checking our time, but this particular part of the conversation is always very lively because, good assets, is relative depending on what you do. I've been in a session like this and I asked someone that is a smartphone a good asset, and the person said yes. Because maybe it's I think it's a marketing, all these high-tech gigs and all of that. I said my phone is an asset to me. Someone said in the forum that my car is an asset to me because it increases my brand equity, right? So, for instance, people who are in the entertainment industry, you don't want to go into maybe go for a business meeting and then you come out maybe in a Toyota Corolla. Right? People may not just take you serious, but that is what is prevalent in that industry. I just wanted to call that out. But most importantly, it is important. We need to know that buying good assets is essential for us to grow our money and also for us to, be financially independent at old age. This concept is very, very key and is very, very important for us to take note, because for anybody to attain financial independence at old age, you need to also manage your debt very well, right? So I'm not going to say that debt is not good, and I'm not going to say that debt is good. There are biblical principles that says that, debt is not, you may want to step down from taking loans or, going into debt. And also, you may also want to take loans. Taking loans is not a thing, but if you know that, you can service your debt and your debt is not going to plague on your, your journey to financial independence, then you can key into it. And if you are going to key into it, there are principles that you need to be aware of. It's important for you to be aware of hidden costs, behind those loans, especially in this climate of the world. It's important for you to be aware of the interest around those loans. It's important for you to have a full visibility of your loan, especially for entrepreneurs who are taking loans maybe to expand their businesses, across, the shores of Nigeria or across the shores of Qatar. It's important for you to understand and have a full visibility of that loan. And most importantly, and this is where a lot of people fall into trap. People fund their wants with debt. You can fund your need. Maybe your need is a good asset. You can fund it, right, with a debt. But in a situation where, you have maybe you have a functional phone, a very good phone at that. And so maybe because a friend of yours has just bought one, or a friend of yours just bought, an SUV and it looks good. And you think that, you need to also change your own car. And then you have to go and take a car loan. These are the traps that people fall into. And before you know it, you are wallowing in that debt. And then financial independence doesn't just, seem to be a reality for you. I would like for you to, look at this quote that says that too many people spend money they earn to buy things they don't want and to impress people they don't like. This is speaking to us, not just following the Joneses. This is telling us that we need to, work according to our goals if we have to attain financial independence in life. Now, save and invest. This is the third quadrant, and I know a lot of people might have been itching to actually see what this quadrant, has to offer, right? Because every one of us, we know what, time value of money is. And if I can tell you, inflation right now in Nigeria is, close to, about 18%, right? Excuse me. So if you had 1 million naira, maybe last year, by now, your 1 million naira would have been devalued, right, to say maybe 820, naira. I'm just speaking in value, if not worse, right? And so for your money, for your wealth, right, to attract long-term value, time, it is important for you to save. It is important for you to invest so that you can reach financial independence. And when we are saving, it's important for us to have a goal, right, at the back of our mind, right? Have a goal, for your multiple, specific goals for your children's education, even goals for the life that you want to live, right? A lot of us, for me, I have a goal that I want to be earning double of what I earn, by the time I retire. That is my goal, and I'm working towards it. And by the grace of God, I will achieve it. So it's important for us to have that goal, and that is going to inform the kind of saving and investing interventions, right, for us to actually get there. So there are some questions that, are top of mind, and I've just put them here. Apologies, I know that we are in Qatar, but, let's see here. So, the question might be that, I work outside of Nigeria. What investment opportunities are available to me, right? I'm retiring soon, and my pension value seems to have dropped. What should I consider, and what are my options? How do I guide against currency risk, as we are currently experiencing, in Nigeria? What investment outlets, can I leverage to add value to my money? That's a very good question. And I do not, so somebody might also ask, I'm an engineer, right? I don't have the expertise when it comes to financial planning. How do I work around this? I have a good news for everyone on this call. If you have any of this question, popping in your mind, I believe that we should be able to provide, solution to that as we move along, right? Warren Buffett said that do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. This is a code that is going to guide you, if you are going to attain financial independence. A lot of us is after we have spent, after we have, given money out and all of that, that is when we now, send money into our investment account, what have you. If we are going to meet our goals financially, it's important for us to pay attention to this, right? Why do we need to do this? For us to, achieve our goals, right? It's important for us to, earn return on our money. A lot of us, we have money in bank accounts or accounts that are not really earning much, right? That is not going to take you to where you want to be, right, at old age, right? So it is important for us to start saving. And most importantly, let us also encourage our children. Let us encourage our family. Because if we say that we want to attain financial independence and we do not instill the right value in our children, such that even if we live, if we enjoy ourselves while we are alive, and we pass on whatever investment that we have accumulated over to children that are not well brought up on the principles of money management, they are going to squander the wealth. And I pray that that will not be our portion in the name of Jesus. This is just speaking to the goals. I'm not going to dwell so much on this, but let me just go to a principle that I know is going to help us as we go into examples of investment that we can leverage, right, to add value to our money, right? Albert Einstein says that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it, right? I work in a financial institution, and I tell you, the monies that you will see in my savings account are monies that I used to run maybe for groceries and the likes. Immediately I earn and, I've, paid my tithes and all. I, just transfer money to my investment account and whatever is left, because I know that my savings account is not going to attract any form of interest. If it's going to attract interest at all in a year, to attract 1%, right? And so compound interest is an interest that you would enjoy by the time you know the right avenue for you to invest your money in. And in the same way, for those of us who take loans, right, if you don't understand the principles of debt management, right, compound interest, the same way it works for your investment, the same way it also works, in terms of debt. So it's important for us to, have an understanding of, how we can properly manage our debt so that, nothing is hindering our financial independence as we journey through life, right? We have, there are a lot of, products, that you can invest in if you are to attain, financial independence. I know that quite a lot of us, we might not have the technical expertise, right, for us to actually make the decisions, right, for us to, the investment decisions that we would have done that really love to make. And so that is why mutual funds are always very, very important for us that doesn't have the opportunity, right, to manage our funds by ourselves, maybe because of our technical know-how. And what is a mutual fund? A mutual fund is a collective investment scheme, right? It's like, for those of us that comes from Nigeria, they call something isusu, right? Everybody is pulling money together, right? So that money comes into a pool, and then a fund manager manage that fund on your behalf, and then returns are going to be distributed to every contributor to that fund based on the proportion that you have invested. But then I'm just going to narrow my focus on dollar-denominated investments. Dollar-denominated investment, I believe, might be ideal, for people, for everyone on this call, because I know that you don't earn Naira, right? So maybe you earn in Qatar, and then you may have access to dollar investment, right? To dollar flows. This is an asset that you can actually invest in. For those of us, some of us might want to come back to Nigeria over time, and as such, you may want to, play down the exposure that your funds has, right, to Naira. And such, you may want to invest more in dollar-denominated investment. And this is a mutual fund that you can invest in. The mutual fund, you are not making any decision as to, where should you put the money. As you can see, the product invests in Eurobonds, it invests in maybe fixed deposits, right, and then a little bit of equities. And I can tell you over the past 4 years, right, that a dollar-denominated investment like the Stanbic IBTC one, over the past 4 years that we have been managing this fund. This fund had not returned anything less than 4.9%. In fact, as a matter of fact, in the last 3 years, right, it hasn't done anything less than 6%. So for those of us that are earning in foreign currency, this might be an opportunity for you to actually leverage on. Now, I'm not saying that there are no dollar-denominated investment outside of Nigeria, but then I believe that you will be able to earn more with respect to interest. Why? Because, you know, there's this saying that the higher the risk, the higher the return. So in developed climes, right, it is practically impossible for you to get higher interest, right, on investment like a fixed deposit investment, you know, which it's somewhat in tandem with the dollar-denominated investment I talked about. So it may be rare, you know, for you to get a higher interest in investments such as that, right? But if you come to a climb where, you know, there's some level of uncertainties, right, there's definitely a higher propensity or probability, right, for you to earn more on whatever investment that you are making, as opposed to maybe saving or investing in climes like in America, you know, for instance. So I think this is an opportunity, you know, if you mutual funds that are everywhere. I want to believe it should also be in Qatar there, you know, all over the world. You will see mutual funds, you know, everywhere. And mutual funds are funds that are managed on your behalf. It takes away, you know, having to think about, you know, the decision makings of where to put your money, when to exit from a particular investment, and when to also put money in a particular investment. Now, you know, there's another channel of investment that I also believe would add value to your investment as much as possible, or whatever, you know, wealth it is that you are building or creating right now. And it is it is called a bespoke fund management. So you may decide that, okay, I have 10 million naira. You may decide that I have 40 million naira. You may decide that apologies, you know, I may be using naira. Maybe it's because I'm used to that. You may have maybe 30 million naira. And so you decide that, okay, I want you to open a portfolio for me. In that portfolio, I want stocks to be in the portfolio. I want fixed income such as treasury bills, bonds. I want that to be in the portfolio. I want mutual funds to be in the portfolio. I also want alternative investments, right? Like investing in the infrastructure funds. By the way, infrastructure funds are just funds that you invest in, and those funds will go and invest in people that are maybe developing infrastructures, you know, all around the country. Maybe they are building roads, they are into projects and the likes. So you may have funds like that, and you say you want to give it to a fund manager, and the fund manager should create a portfolio for you, right? The fund manager will create that portfolio for you. You would have agreed a benchmark of return that you want on your investment, right? And then the fund manager is going to be working towards ensuring that they meet that return benchmark on a quarterly basis. And the fund manager will also sit with you on a quarterly basis to review the performance of your portfolio vis-a-vis what you had agreed when you were opening or when you are setting up the portfolio. Now, these portfolios, you know, could be in two ways. They are discretionary portfolios where you tell the fund manager that, you know what, I don't want to make any decision with respect to whatever is happening, you know, on this portfolio. Just make the decision for me. And the other one is non-discretionary, right? You know, you don't want the fund manager, right, to exercise his discretion. You want to dictate to the fund manager what he or she needs to do. And what that means is that you must have a significant level of expertise to be able to do that before you actually toe that line. I mean, this is speaking to the discretionary portfolio. I'm not just going to bore you so much with that. You know, this is the fourth quadrant, you know, as I discussed earlier, and it's speaking to how we can make an impact in the world, right? It's important. This is a very important quadrant, you know, for us as Christians. You know, I mean, there are a lot of Christians that are even into this in a lot of ways. We've heard of names like Bill Gates and the likes. These people are not believers, but we are believers, and we are here to make an impact, to invest in the future generation, and to impact the world around us, right? We are here to leave a legacy, and that is how we can achieve it. And the way we can achieve it is for us to look at the ripple effect that whatever it is that we are doing, right, would have in the environment around us, right? It could be as, you know, minor as, you know, maybe supporting a child in school. That child that you are supporting in school may be able to support hundreds of children through school, you know, over time or in the course of in the course of the year. So this is a very important part of building sustainable wealth, because it's not just enough for us to attain financial independence when we are not satisfied in our heart, in our mind, we have made impact in the world. This is very key for us to take note of if we are going to, fulfill our purpose in life. Purpose is not just you making money. And I believe you know that, right? Giving to your local community, right, is you meeting purpose or, meeting your goal in life. Leaving an inheritance for your family, being involved in philanthropic activities, starting a family business, investing in your passion, right? These are areas, or these are, avenues with which that you have actually met a goal and you have made impact in the lives of people that are surrounded with the activities that I've mentioned, on this slide. So very importantly, I want you to think about, ways, right, how you would like to use your time, because these are the ways that you can make a difference, right?
These are the ways that you can make a difference, right? How can you?
So how can you make the best use of your time?
Sorry,
I don't know why I'm echoing. Okay, how can you make the best use of your time, your passions, and money to make a difference? And I'm going to leave us, with a quote from Abisoye, and he said that it is every man's obligation to put back into the world at least the equivalent of what it takes out of it. And this is the last quadrant that I'm going to speak to, right? And this is talking about how you can plan and protect whatever it is that you are building, right? A lot of us, and I know maybe it's a culture, right, in Africa, right, that you don't want to, our culture towards insurance is not so good. Our culture towards estate planning is not also so good, right? So this particular quadrant is very, very important because it protects you against unforeseen events that can erode your wealth, right? So for you to be able to achieve this, it's important for you to have a financial plan, and that is why we are gathered here today, and also have adequate insurance in place. I know that my time is fast spent, but I should round up in about 2 or 3 minutes, right? So let's just speak a little more about this. Now, when it comes to writing will, a lot of people believe that, especially here in Africa, that when you write will, you are calling your creator to come and take you. I can tell you for free that ever since I joined Stanbic IBTC group, right, that's about 13, 14 years ago, right, I wrote my will, and I am still alive today. And I can tell you, I'm not going to die at any age less than 90 years. That's the covenant that I have with God. But you are not financially responsible when you've gathered so much. You've built so much. Every one of us that are in Qatar right now, we are putting a lot of effort and energy to ensure that we build a lot of wealth so that our livelihood, our lifestyle, where the goals that we have set for our children are met, right? And most importantly, for us to be financially independent at old age. But then when we pass on, I've heard of, by the virtue of the work that I do, I've heard of instances of people, immediately they pass on, the family is in disarray. They cannot meet their expenses. They cannot, even if they will be able to access the asset that the man left behind eventually, it will take them 2 years, 3 years. Meanwhile, a simple will, which is a legal document that specifies how you want your wealth or asset to be distributed, would have sorted this out. And in less than a month, the livelihood, the education of our children, will just go on smoothly, right? So I'm not going to, my assignment here today is not going to be complete if I don't speak to this. Yes, I know that we are believers, and I can tell you we are going to live long, right? But our financial planning is not complete when you have not, done what you need to do when it comes to estate planning. Then when we speak about insurance is not just, a lot of us, especially in Nigeria, in Africa, right? I know in South Africa, insurance compliance, people picking up insurances. I know, the significant level of compliance in that area, and it's not that much compared to the West. However, insurance protects you against, risk that may be posed at you yourself and even your family when the unforeseen happens. And on the screen, which is the last thing that I'm going to speak to right now, short-term insurance that you can pick up, and even long-term insurance that you can pick up, right? For the short-term insurance, I'm going to speak to, let's say, even property insurance, for instance. A lot of us, yes, we work in Qatar. We have built properties here in Nigeria that are yielding, income for us. A lot of us, maybe that left from Lagos, we have property here in Lagos, right? That we've leased out or we rent them out, and they're giving us significant level of income, right? In addition to what we are earning in Qatar. But then there's no insurance policy on those property. This is your goods that lays the golden egg. Why can't you pick an insurance for it? I heard of a story of a guy, he was traveling, right, with his family. He has a little one, maybe a 1-year-old or a toddler, right? And they traveled without insurance policy. Insurance policy is, for a travel insurance policy for a family of 4, is so cheap in Nigeria. I don't even think it's up to 30,000 naira, right? And he traveled, and unfortunately, that little boy took ill. They couldn't enjoy themselves in the state, and even when they came back, they were servicing the debt that they incur, the hospital debt that they incur from taking care of that child. On the long-term insurance plan, right, there are a lot of insurance plans that you can pick up that will serve as an additional income to you when you are no longer working. And I will just speak to, endowment plan. Endowment plan is just like a savings plan. You may decide that, okay, I want to have an endowment plan with an insurance company, and I want to be putting aside maybe 50,000 naira or a particular amount of money for the next 20 years. And after 20 years, the lump sum is going to be paid to you, right? With additional, interest, right? There are a lot of life insurance policies that you can pick that will, in addition to whatever it is that you have in your savings and investment, you can also fall back on it when you are old, right? So, this is also still speaking to what I just mentioned earlier. I'm going to leave us with this quote that says that a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. And that is where everything starts this evening. Have a goal for everything you want to achieve. How much do you want to be earning by the time you are retired? By the time you are 60, what is the lifestyle that you want to live? Do you, always fly out of the country, for summer on a yearly basis? Right? Do you still want to be able to maintain that lifestyle? Retirement is not, a stage where you want to cut down on your lifestyle if you plan very well for it. So have a dream for everything you want to achieve. Have a dream for your children's education. Have a goal, rather, for your children's education. Have a goal for your retirement, right? And put a date to it. And then let's go a step further. A goal that is broken down into steps becomes a plan. We have talked about, a lot of, this is a financial planning session that we are having right now. And we have talked about, how plans as to how you can create and build sustainably. We've talked about how you can live and enjoy responsibly. We've talked about how you can save and invest so that you can add value to your money. We've talked about how you can leave a legacy and how you can make an impact in your world. And we've talked about the importance of you, protecting your assets, right? And lastly, a plan that is backed by actions makes your goal and your dream comes true. So everything that we have talked about here, I want every one of us to take action. I'm so sorry. This session that we have had right now is a session that is, is a very interactive session. But because of the brevity of time, we are not able to really delve into and make it a lot more lively as we would have loved it to be. But I believe that if I have another opportunity, with a lot more of time, we can really, open up a lot more of areas, for us to benefit from. Thank you very much for having me. I'll take your questions from here.
Thank you very much. This is a very loaded session. And for me, that I've even been working in financial services for 14, 15 years now, there are things I'm just hearing for the first time that I need to take action on. So we have some questions here that we got from Timita. I will read them, though you've spoken about some of them. And please, for all the participants, if you have your question, you can write them on the chat. I will read, or you can raise up your hand from the chat. I will allow you to speak. So any of the two ways that you can ask questions. I know from what all the speakers be saying, there are some questions that may be bubbling in our minds to ask something about. Probably if those information that he has given are not directly, that you cannot resonate with them, probably some of them we've left our home country for a very long time, but you are trying to figure out how to match it back to what you think that you can do either here or in your home country. You can ask your question as well. So I will read the first one, which I think you've spoken about. Considering the strength of our currency, Naira, I think this person is from Nigeria, it is advisable to save bulk money back home, pending the time one can ascertain which business to do.
Okay. Do you want me to answer now?
Let me read the second one, then you can answer the two together. I would like to know which profiting business can be done in Nigeria with a minimal supervision.
Okay.
So those are the two I have currently. I'll be waiting for others to either signify to speak or write a question that I can read. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the question. So you said the first question, you said that is it given the strength of our currency, is it advisable to save so much more and send it down to Nigeria, depending when you come back? I hope I got that correct, sir.
Yes, you got it correctly. That is basically what the person was asking.
Okay. So the truth is, yes, I would say yes, you can do that. But then, currently, right now in Nigeria, inflation is high. The cost of things is almost every day that you come in, right? That you go to the market, things are having. There's increase, right? In the cost of things on a daily basis. So yes, you can do that, but I would not advise that you do a Naira investment in Nigeria. I want to believe so much that you may be able to have access to exchanging in dollars, right? Over there in Qatar. So if you are going to send money down, I would advise that you invest in a dollar-denominated fund. A mutual fund, Stanbic IBTC has one, and I think I spoke to it a little bit, right? What that one is going to do for you, dollar is I can say it's a universal currency, right? And whenever you need to, if you do investment in dollars, right, here in Nigeria and in the Stanbic IBTC dollar fund, for instance, right, you can, whenever you want to get out of your investment, that money can be paid out to any bank account in the world. That is one. Two, investing in foreign currency here in Nigeria is going to do a lot of good, right, to hedging against currency devaluation, as well as exchange rate risk. So yes, you are in Qatar now, you come back to Nigeria, maybe you have an opportunity again to go back, maybe to work in the UK or in America or Canada, wherever the case may be, right? I may not be able to really say that by the time you are changing your Naira, right, to dollar, you are going to get, better value for it at that instance. So, but if you invest in dollar, right, from Qatar, where you currently are, right, it's going to help you to hedge against currency devaluation. It will help you to hedge against exchange rate risk, right? And whenever you need to access your money, you accessing the money back in dollars as well, and it's going to be paid into any bank account that you have in the world. And also, you are helping Nigeria, right? And I believe even CBN has an incentive, for anybody who sends in dollar from the diaspora, whether for investment or any, for any other reason, right? You are earning on it, and then the country is also earning some level of FX. So, but whenever you want to access your money out of that dollar investment, you are going to be paid back in dollars. So that is the only way, or that's the only area I would say that, you can bring in cash, to invest in Nigeria, whether in any financial asset, right, aside from business. I hope that satisfies the person who asked that question, right? Can I move on to answer the second one, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the second question, the second question is speaking to which Bible business can I advise for you to do with minimal supervision? Sir, to be honest with you here, I would like to be very, very careful. There are a lot of businesses that you can do, but I can ascertain that even with that minimal supervision, things may not still go wrong, right? There have been people who have done businesses, maybe who had sent money to this, and they feel maybe there's some decent level of trust, right, from that business channel. And then at the end of the day, things didn't turn out. So I want to be cautious, in advising, on this. We can talk, right, after now. But, a lot of people right now, they are into, real estate business. People buy properties here in Nigeria. You know that, anytime you come back, you can always access your property. And then, you can lease it out, you can lease it out, you can rent it out, you can even give it out for Airbnb if you have property in a in a prime area, especially in Lagos, maybe you have it in the Lekki areas and the likes, right? So of course that one that nobody is going to carry your house from wherever you have bought it. But then every other businesses, I would just want to be cautious in advising right now. But we can discuss maybe after now and then look at some other areas that we feel could be valuable. But then there's still some element of risk there because you are not here. So, but if you ask me, if you have some cash, that you think is idle, please put it in a financial asset, right? You can invest in, you can invest in mutual funds, right? Treasury bills right now in Nigeria, fixed income rates right now are not that good as they used to be, right? So, I would say that might not really fetch you what you desire. And at the end of the day, if you are investing in treasury bills, what that means is that you are converting to Naira to come and invest here. But if I'm going to advise you to invest in any financial asset, it's important for you to invest in dollar-denominated investment assets in Nigeria. With that, you are hedged against so many risks that may be posed at you.
Thank you very much. I think those questions were well answered. I want to ask Sukomi Ajiboye, do you want to speak or I should read your question?
Sukomi Ajiboye, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, I did not type my question. I think it's another person that typed his question. I just want to use this first and foremost. I want to use this opportunity to thank Mr. Abisoye Ajila. It has been a very wonderful and eye-opener lecture. I think God bless you really good in Jesus' name.
Amen.
So I do have experience very well in the financial industry in Nigeria, specifically in the bank also. So what I said, I think one of the things I engage in DDA, FDA, treasury bills, and all those ones. I think one of the most innovating things is about the dollar-based investments. But another challenge I found in the banking, which I felt maybe I don't know how it's been addressed now, is if you have an account in a bank, maybe Stanbic IBC or any other bank, and you have investment or whatever, you put investment in your name. And in the form, they'll ask next of kin. They'll put your next of kin. But if that person died in estate without a will, you realize that immediately the person's bank gets information that the person is dead, they lien the account. Either you have a next of kin or you don't have a next of kin. They lien the account. The person will not be able to access his investment. You will not be able to access your account. You will not be able to access the account. Now, and the process is always very long. For you to go and get, you go to the court, you get an administrator, because they will not, when it comes to that instance, they will look at it that maybe the man said you have only you as wife, and the man is having multiple wives or multiple children, and all of them are entitled to the man's investment, regardless the next of kin. So, because then, with my own little knowledge, I always say they should have a second signatory to the account. So, with all this investment you talk about, how transferable it is to the next of kin in case of any eventuality, or as long as you are doing the investment, it has to go with the will, because we have your will where you have the executor, the executor of the will will have been there, so that at least in case of any eventuality, the will take over, or the investment you are proposing with your next of kin, where everything can flow very well in case of eventuality. Thank you. That's my question, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to have a colleague on the call. Thank you very much. I would have loved to. I didn't see your face very well earlier.
I'm sorry. This is my face. I'm on site, so that is why I kind of that's my.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the question. And first, I would like to speak from the standpoint of what is, legally recognized, right, for transference of assets, right, in Nigeria. And I believe that that may also cut across some climb in the world, right? So when somebody, passes on, next of kin really are not beneficiaries to your assets, and it's to protect you. I would explain. Right. So some of us, if I ask you now, the first bank account that you open in Nigeria, maybe when you are still young, I know that it's not your wife that is the next of kin, right? No. Some of us who left Nigeria and we had a retirement savings account that we opened years back, some of us have not gone back to change the next of kin on that account, maybe to your spouse. So in a situation where you had used your brother, your uncle, whom ordinarily would think that they have our interest at heart, I've seen instances where, I've seen things, right? So next of kin is just somebody that you can contact in the case of, eventuality. And that is why, what is legally recognized, is for you to have a will. But then we know that a lot of people don't write wills. And if you don't have a will and something happens, you have to process letter of administration, right? For you to be able to access, for the beneficiaries to be able to access whatever you have left behind. And that might take 2 years. In fact, if you are doing it in some climes, in some states in Nigeria, it will take you, more than that, right? So what can you do? The truth is, immediately that person passes on, right? The only thing that financial institutions, including Stanbic IBTC, the only thing that we are going to require from you to pass on that investment or asset is a letter of administration. And the whole bad thing about letter of administration is that is whoever the letter of administration states as the beneficiary of your asset. In that letter of administration, I've seen a letter of administration that doesn't include the children and the wife of the deceased, but it includes the name of the uncle. And the financial institutions will honor it because it's a legal document. And it's whoever brings that letter of administration first. You can't go and process another one and then it be honored. Wow. So what can you do? Have a will. In the case you don't have a will, that's my first preference because we are talking about financial planning here. In the case that you don't have a will, yes, what you suggested about, having joint signatories on your account, yes, that will work. But when you are having a joint signatory also, especially on our mutual fund investment account, don't just have a joint signatory, have a joint account holder. Because there are two things. So if you have an investment account with us and then you say, okay, my wife can co-sign, your wife may not be able to redeem that fund into a bank account in the case of anything because she is not a joint account holder. Wow. Right? Except some men, to be honest with you, some men are so secretive that your wife doesn't even know, doesn't know the PIN to your ATM card, it doesn't know the password to your internet banking. If that happens, right, and your spouse or whoever is just a joint signatory to that account, he will be able to sign on that account, but he will never be able to redeem into our own bank account. So what you can do is for both of you to open the account in your names, and you have the signatory that either or can sign. Another option is for you to have a special purpose vehicle, right? So you can have maybe a company, you can set up a company purposely for investment. So every of your assets is bought in the name, of that company. And then your children, so long that, they are up to maybe age of 18. But of course, you and your wife can be directors in that organization. And when your children are up to age, you can transfer shares, right, of that company to them. So everything that you buy, you will invest in the name of that company. You will buy properties in the name of that company. And that companies don't die. You only so in the case of death of maybe the father or the mother, you just transfer shares, and the company is always in a continuum. So those are the things that we speak to with respect to that. I hope that meets your expectations, sir.
Yeah. At least for the benefit of everybody in the house. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I have some questions on the chat. I will read them out so that we can just go over them.
Are you reading them out, sir?
Yes, I'm going to read them out.
Okay.
So the first one says, is it profitable to invest in online stock trading? Is it profitable to invest in online stock trading?
Of course, it's
that
profitable.
Let me just read the other. Let me just read the rest. The second one is, can you please throw more light on endowment fund in Nigeria and possible contacts? Then the third one was asking if you could get the material used for the presentation. So those are the three I have for now.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I'll take it from the stock question. So, yes, you can invest in online stock trading. It's profitable, but it may not be profitable at all times, right? Earlier on, we talked about, this usual saying when it comes to investing that the higher the risk, the higher the return, right? So stocks are very good investment instruments, right, in the capital market. And most importantly, they are good, on a long-term basis. And if you are a trader, right, you just don't want to buy, you want to be trading on your stocks. And so what it means is that you must be active, right? You must be active, as to the happenings, right, on that platform and with respect to a particular stock. Right. So when you must be able to have information about the fundamentals, right, of a particular stock before you buy, right, or before you sell. What is happening in that company, right? Should you buy more, of the stock of this company? Maybe they just change their management, right? Or maybe you look at their governance structure. Right, you look at their annual report. You see, how much they had put into, how much they had invested, right, into ensuring that they expand their business, and you can see, right, that that stock has a lot of potential, in the near future, right. So for you to be able to trade, profitably on stocks online, you must be able to understand, the fundamentals that are guiding, the organizations or the companies behind a particular stock. However, when we are investing in stocks, earlier on, when I started this conversation, I mentioned 5 beliefs or philosophies that guides, building sustainable wealth. And one of them is the fact that risk is relative, right? So your friend might have affinity for risk. Your friend may be someone that if he invests maybe $2,000 or maybe $1 million or maybe 2 million in a stock, 2 million naira, right? And maybe 2 days after, or 3 days after, that money had reduced to say 1,500,000, he may have the affinity to hold it. But can you hold it if anything happens? If any erosion happens to your money? That may be the first test to know whether you can play in the stock market. And then another thing that you also need to consider before you venture into this is, what is your horizon? A lot of people buy stocks, they accumulate it on a long-term basis. Stocks, if you are buying stocks to hold, for instance, right, it may be good for you to buy this stock on a long term. Have a mid to long-term view for this particular stock, right? Because some people, even when you buy the stock, it might not really be doing well at the immediate, as compared to fixed income investment, like treasury bills or fixed deposit, or even the Stanbic IBTC dollar fund, as the case may be. So you must be able to answer those questions before you can say, oh, it is profitable or it's not profitable. Yes, it is profitable, and also realistically, it may also not, you may experience some dip or some losses when you are trading, on stocks, whether online or you also want to trade through a stockbroker. And then, so there's a question around, throwing more light on the endowment fund in Nigeria. So the endowment that I mentioned is actually not a fund, it's an insurance plan, right? So endowment plan are plans that, you can have for a period of time, right? So long you are between the age of 18 years, right? And 65, or 70, as the case may be, right? So, for instance, so for endowment plan, you can have a plan, minimum tenure is 5 years, and you can have it for as long as, as 20 years. So you can say, okay, if anything happens to me today or to my family, I want to set up an endowment plan of, say, I need you to pay my family, say, maybe 30 million naira or 40 million naira, or 100 million naira, as the case may be. So based on that, the benefits that you have decided to want to have access to, at the end of the tenure that you choose, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, or 20 years, right? If anything happens, so they are going to calculate your premium, the premium you will be paying, which could be spread for you. You could be paying that premium after they calculate the premium from you on the lump sum. You can be paying it monthly. You can pay it quarterly, right? You can pay it yearly, as the case may be, right? So if anything happens and you have been paying your premium consistently, if anything happens, whether, okay, you've chosen a 5-year plan, and at, maybe year 3, God forbid, something happens, right? The policyholder dies. That amount that you have decided that, you want to be paid in the case of anything will be paid out to your beneficiary. So endowment could be used for maybe the education of your children. It could be used for anything. And so because we know that God will answer our prayer, nothing is going to happen within that 5 years that you have been, paying your premium. After that 5 years, that amount that you have decided to be paid out to you as a benefit will be paid to you after the tenure of 5 years had been met. That's the way it works. I don't know if, that answers your question.
I think it does answer the question.
Okay.
I think it does answer the question. So the last question there was about getting for this session, which I think that can be made available.
That's not going to be an issue. I would always work with Mr. Ajay on that.
Hello, we lost you.
So can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
I said that is not going to pose any challenge at all. With respect to the pack, I would copy of it. I'll share with you after now, so that we can also go through it.
Okay, thank you very much. Our time is fast spent. This is one message. Okay. So someone also asked if you could get contact about the endowment plan. I think with the pack,
yes, you can speak to me.
Just share your contacts.
Let me type my phone number and email address.
On on the pin.
Yes.
So you will type your address and telephone number, email address and telephone number on the pin, so that anybody that wants to reach you directly can also speak to you. Our time is fast spent. We promised to be here for 1.5 hours, and it's 1.5 hours. Thank you. We want to say a very big thank you to Bisco. We call him Bisco. So you can also call him Bisco when you speak to him. So we want to say a big thank you for the time taken to prepare for this very rich presentation. For real, I got so many things that I think I haven't worked in the financial sector that I think I know, but it's actually that I think there are things I'm getting to know, and that I think there are things I think I need to know more now with this presentation. And I want to believe that some of us here are still trying to process everything we've read today, if it is actually worked that way. And some, we still need to come back to you to ask some questions, to want to make some investment and all that. So we believe that you will be able to answer us if need be. I will call on Brodele to give us a vote of thanks and a closing prayer.
Okay, thank you so much, Bro Bankole. Yes, apologies because I'm not able to turn my camera on, but I first of all like to thank God for this opportunity given to us all to witness this. And a special thanks goes to our speaker. We really, really appreciate you, sir. We thank you for your time. You know, I, for one, I can tell you I've gained a lot, even though I have some, should I say, residual knowledge of everything, but it was an eye-opener, and we appreciate God for the wisdom and the way you took the program. Special thanks to members of the, apologies for that, special thanks for Free Gospel International Ministries and the other sister parishes. I'm talking of our RCCG parish members that are in attendance today. We all appreciate you all. We thank the men's fellowship. We thank you for everyone that has joined, everyone that has contributed by attending, and we even thank you because of your time. Thank you to the speaker again. Thank you to the both the local men's fellowship and of course the zonal men's fellowship. Thank you everyone for your time. I just want to say a word of prayer, and maybe we can close after that. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us to the end of this program. We thank you for how we have been planning and how we have planned, and for the insights that has been given to us. Thank you for the knowledge shared. Thank you for the impact that was given to all the men. We pray that the knowledge that we have received today, Father, we will use it and we will use it well in the name of Jesus. It will serve us. It will make us better men. It will make us better investors. It will make us better savers. Thank you to the thank you for the opportunity. We thank you for our speaker. We thank you for his life. We thank you for his family. We thank you for his career. The Lord will continue to prosper him and promote him in the name of Jesus. And for us men too, the Lord will continue to prosper and promote us all in the name of Jesus. So thank you, Father, for in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen. 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 Thank you, sir.
One more piece of information before we go. If you need the recordings of this session, send an email to an email I'm going to pin on the chat. Then the recordings can be sent to you directly. biogbenga@yahoo.com. I just dropped the email address. So if you need the recording of the session, it can be sent to you. For the slides, I will also speak to the president of the RMF, Redeemed Men's Fellowship, on how to get it to sister parishes. Within our own group at Rehoboth, we can share it within the group. But for the sister parishes, Bro Benga will get it across. Thank you very much, and have a nice evening, a nice weekend.
All right, bye-bye, sirs.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. Thank you for having me.
Bye. Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.